Hey, welcome to New Flying Adventure. In this episode, I'm going to try to figure out how to do wheel landings, get better at wheelies during takeoff, and we're going to go land off airport at a farm strip. So here's our first takeoff, learning to push the nose forward, and I think it's really cool how much that rudder is moving, and I'm not thinking about it like I used to have to be really thinking about the rudder. Now it's starting to get almost second nature. At this point, I have about 25 hours on this airplane. One of my favorite things to do is power back to about 2,000 RPM, about 1,000 foot AGL, and just cruise around. So we are heading to my friend Roberts' farm strip, and if you go back to my first solo video, that's where my second ever landing happened. So I just wanted to go back there and practice a soft field off airport type landing. You can see it's straight ahead there. I'm actually slipping the plane, so you can see the rudder is deflecting and we're banking left just to bleed off a bit of extra airspeed, or bleed off altitude without increasing airspeed. Now generally I shoot for 55-ish on short final, so you can see here we're just under 60 miles an hour, getting close to 50. And the airplane really likes to touch down at 40 miles an hour. There's not a whole lot of drama when you hit the ground at 40 miles an hour. So here we come in, 40 miles an hour, and 3-point touchdown. Since I like the landing so much, we're gonna look at it again. So right at 40 miles an hour. And the interesting thing, this is an uphill landing, which kind of screws with your sight picture a little bit, especially on takeoff, and you'll see not the greatest takeoff coming in here. Unfortunately, Robert wasn't there, so just got out, took some pictures, and the way the sun was hitting the airplane, it became really obvious that I really need to start polishing this thing. So you see this spot that I polished just so I could put the vinyl on, and everything else really dull. So that's good motivation for me to start polishing this and getting you guys some polishing content again. So here we go for the takeoff. At this airfield, you land one direction uphill and then you take off going downhill, and again that really affects your sight picture. And when you're a new pilot like me that's already a little reluctant to push forward on takeoff, see what happens here. So right rudder, nose going up, a few bounces, and we're in the air. And we'll take a look at this again and I'll tell you what I think happened. So this is a little bit slowed down. I'm being reluctant to push the nose over, but tail wheel comes off, and then I either hit a bounce or I try to lift up too soon. So the tail wheel bounced off the ground, and then we kind of oscillated a few times, then the airplane got enough speed and went up. So next time, need to push forward longer, more than take off. So taking off out of Roberts, we go back, kind of take the scenic way. There's some friends swimming down there in that lake. Another friend just bought a new house here, and we come back to Marion. One of the things I wanted to practice is do a very low approach, maybe a wheelie, maybe not, but adding a little bit of power and trying to get used to that zero vertical speed sight picture. And didn't do a great job at it. You can see we're kind of going up and down. Never did make contact with the ground. So adding more power and just climbing back out. That was harder than I thought it would be, and I'll have to practice that more. Come in for an actual landing this time. You see we are side slipping. You can tell from the rudder, and actually the sound of the wind changes too. And then when we get out of the slip, the wind sound changes again. We usually hit some bumps here, I'm guessing, as the wind goes through those trees. And coming in here. So I tried to keep the tail wheel off the ground, but again, when you're touching down at 40-45 miles an hour, there's just not a whole lot of lift to keep that tail up. So go back around. Again, you see that rudder working on the takeoff run. Here we come again. And to do wheel landing, you really need to push forward on the stick, which I did, but kind of too late. We bounced a few times. Good thing to do when you're bouncing is pull back on the stick. Just plant that tail on the ground so it's not bouncing all over the place. Let's give that another try. Here we come in with, I guess I remembered to turn on the cockpit GoPro. It's a little bit of forward slip, and then kick the slip out here. Get rocked around a little bit by the trees. So mains make contact, tail staying off the ground, veering a little bit left, and then the plane started veering right, and at that point I decided to go around. It doesn't look so bad in the video, but I didn't want to risk being out of rudder authority and pointing off the runway. So here's the exact same landing, and it looks really mild. You can see touching down right at about 40, trying to keep it on the wheels, and then plane goes right. It felt more pronounced than what you see here, and you know, hit power. Power gives you wind over the tail feathers and gives you more control authority. So after that, I decided to practice just normal 3-point landings, coming in, touching down right at 40, and kissing the ground. That rudder working to keep the plane aligned, and back on the takeoff, nose down, pick up speed, and lift off. And here's the last one of the night. Touching down right at 40, just kissing that ground. So I'm getting pretty comfortable with the speed and side picture for 3-point landings. I'm going to continue practicing wheel landings, and part of that is just doing a wheelie on takeoff. It really helps in learning how to balance the airplane. When you have a higher power setting like that, it's a little bit easier. Remember, you're not done flying a tailwheel until you are stopped and chalked. You're just trying to not hit anything with the wings here. Thanks so much for watching again. I hope to continue to show an upward trend in skill with these videos. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you have any tips or tricks for what I'm doing, or you see something obviously I'm doing wrong, please let me know in the comments.